All right, today we're cracking open Andrew Craig's book, How to Own the World Before You're 30. Now, if you've ever felt like finance is some exclusive club you're just not invited to, well, consider this your official invitation. Let's get right into it. So the book kicks off by tackling this massive idea we've all heard. Money is the root of all evil. But what if that's not just wrong? What if that single idea is actually holding you back? What if money isn't some moral problem, but actually one of the greatest inventions in human history?
Exactly. The book argues we need to see money for what it really is. It's a technology. It's just a tool. The tool that allowed us to build literally everything around us, from complex financial markets to the smartphone in your hand. So far from being evil, it's the very engine that pulled humanity out of a life that, one famous philosopher called nasty, brutish, and short.
Okay, so if money is a tool, the big question is, how do you use it? Well, the book breaks it down to two absolutely fundamental facts of finance, things that wealthy people really, truly understand. And the first one? It's a force so powerful that even Albert Einstein was supposedly blown away by it.
And that force is compounding. It is, hands down, the most powerful concept in all of finance. It's simple, really. It's your money making money, and then the money that money made starts making its own money. It's like a tiny snowball rolling down a very, very long hill, and it is the engine of all wealth creation. But to really get it, you've got to see it in action.
Okay, let's run a little thought experiment. Imagine you invest just $5,000 one time. That's it, on the day a child is born. We'll assume a 10% annual return, which, by the way, is pretty close to the historical average for the U.S. stock market. Now, the key ingredient here, your biggest, most unfair advantage, is time. Watch what happens.
So let's fast forward. By the time they're 25, that single $5,000 has ballooned to over $54,000. And remember, not a single extra penny was added. That's amazing, right? But believe it or not, the real magic is just getting started. This isn't a straight line of growth. It's a curve that's about to go nearly vertical. Let's jump ahead another 20 years. By age 45, that same investment is now worth over $360,000. This right here, this is the tipping point. This is where the money your money made is now making more money than you could probably save. The growth curve goes from a gentle slope to a hockey stick, shooting almost straight up.
And what about by retirement, age 65? Well, that initial $5,000 has snowballed into nearly $2.5 million. Look, this isn't some fantasy get-rich-quick thing. It's just math. Simple math playing out over a long period of time. This is why starting young is your ultimate, unbeatable advantage. But, and this is a big but, this amazing force has a dark side.
And here is the critical warning. Compounding is a double-edged sword. It works both ways. When you invest, it builds your wealth. But when you're in debt, especially something like high-interest credit card debt, it works against you, viciously. That 23% APR can turn a $5,000 debt into a $14,000 nightmare in just 5 years. It's so important to make sure this force is working for you, not against you.
All right, so you get compounding, it's powerful. The next logical question is, where do you actually put your money to make it work? To figure that out, the book points to two massive, long-term themes that should really guide all of your thinking. So the first big theme is incredibly simple. Bet on human progress. Yeah, the daily news is always full of doom and gloom, right? But if you zoom out and look at the big picture, it's a story of relentless, incredible growth. I mean, the global economy has exploded since 1985, and it's projected to just keep on going. What that really means is that the single most reliable bet in all of history has been on us, on our collective ability to solve problems, innovate, and create wealth. And this progress isn't just some abstract number on a chart. It's all around us. It's the supercomputer that you call a phone in your pocket. It's the massive shift to electric cars. It's entirely new ways of living and working. And here's the key. Investing is how you get to own a piece of that incredible, ongoing story of human ingenuity. But there's another force out there, a hidden threat working against you. So, if the world is getting richer and more advanced all the time, why does it feel like so many of us are just treading water or even falling behind? Well, there's a hidden force, a silent thief that's constantly eating away at your savings, and its name is inflation.
The famous economist John Maynard Keynes called inflation a hidden tax.
And that's a perfect description. It just makes everything you buy a little bit more expensive over time, which means the cash you have is worth a little bit less every single year. And the crazy thing, as Keynes pointed out, is that most people don't even realize it's happening, or how the official numbers can be, well, a little misleading.
So how can those official numbers feel so different from your actual experience? Well, the book points out a few, let's call them statistical quirks. For example, in the calculations, if steak gets too expensive, they might just swap it for a hamburger. They can also give less weight to things with big price hikes, like healthcare. And then there's this weird one called hedonic adjustment, where they'll say a new TV is actually cheaper because it's better quality, even if the price tag is exactly the same. All this stuff is why your real cost of living can feel like it's going up way faster than the official rate.
So, what does this all mean for you? It leads to a really crucial conclusion. You just can't save your way to wealth in a world with inflation. It's impossible. Cash is basically guaranteed to lose value over time. Your only real defense is to own the stuff, the assets that actually go up in price because of inflation. And what's that stuff? Well, it's shares in the great companies that make everything the world wants and needs.
Okay, we've covered a lot. We've got compounding, we've got global growth, we've got inflation. But what do you do with it all? Well, this brings us to the final and honestly the most important piece of the entire puzzle, your mindset. Because taking control of all this is way, way easier than most people think.
Here's a great way to think about it. Most of us learn how to drive a car, right? And that's a really complex skill. You're operating a 2-ton metal box at high speeds, but we do it. Yet, the idea of investing seems totally intimidating. The book's point is that learning the basic rules of the road for investing is no harder than learning to drive. But the payoff? It's absolutely life-changing.
And this smashes the biggest mental block most people have. So many of us think, oh, investing is for rich people. The book argues that's completely backwards. The truth is, you're far more likely to become a rich person if you learn to become an investor. It's the vehicle, not the destination.
When you strip everything else away, it all comes down to this incredibly simple formula. Live on less than you make. Invest the rest. That's it. It's not just a clever little phrase. That is the entire blueprint for building financial freedom. Look, knowing all this stuff is great, but it's taking action that actually changes your life. You've seen the incredible power of compounding. You understand the big picture of global growth and the hidden danger of inflation. So now the only real question left is for you. What's your first step going to be?